2022. Please welcome to the stage your host for the event, Andy Cotgrave.
Hello, everybody. Let me see those bam-bams. Hello. Hello down the front. Hi, Sean. Hello. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Iron Viz. I'm Tableau's technical evangelist, Andy Cotgrave, and I'm delighted to be hosting my 5th Iron Viz today. Who's excited? That's pretty much all of you. That's fantastic. I want you to shout out very loudly the answer to one question. And the question is, how many Iron Vizes have you attended? You all paused. You're like, well, I guess some of you are counting to a lot of numbers. Right. If this is Iron Viz 0 for you, welcome to Iron Viz Stadium. We are going to have an amazing time. For those of you who've said more than one, how many hosts do we normally have? 2. You are true data pros, because you managed to aggregate sum of hosts equal 2. Yeah. I did have a new co-host this year. Archana Ganeshilingam is one of the program managers of the solution engineers in London. Archana, where are you? Where are you, Archana?
And hello, Iron Viz. Yes, I was supposed to be Andy's co-host today, but unfortunately I wasn't able to travel to Vegas. I'm devastated not to be there in the room with you all celebrating the glorious return of Iron Viz to the stage. However, this does mean I can get my comfy clothes on, join our at-home audience, and tune in from London to cheer our 3 finalists on. Now, I'm not going to leave you stuck with Andy for an hour. I'm delighted to say we have a new co-host. Andy, shall we introduce her?
Let's do it. So thank you, Archana. Hello at home. We're sorry you can't be here. But the good news is, at the last minute, one of the newest members of the Tableau community team has stepped in. Please, everybody, give an Iron Viz welcome for the new Iron Viz co-host, community manager at Tableau, Danica Harrod. Hello, Danica.
Hello, Andy.
Harmony restored, and yes, nobody needs an hour of Andy. Thank you very much for filling in. And thank you all for joining us here in person, and everybody like Archana, who is back at home watching the virtual conference. Now, it's that time once again when the best and brightest go head-to-head in the preeminent data visualization competition.
That's right. It's 2022, and this is Iron Viz. All right, everybody, listen up. Class is in session. Take careful notes.
Yeah, you are going to be quizzed on the following, so pay attention. Somebody will be crowned the 2022 Iron Viz champion, having schooled his or her competitors with a dazzling display of data viz.
Yes, and the winner receives not only top marks, but $10,000 in prize money and $5,000 to the charity of their choice.
Yeah, second place is a $5,000 cash prize and $2,000 to their charity.
Third place is a seat at the back of the class. No, I'm just kidding. Third place gets $2,000 cash and $1,000 to the charity of their choice.
But the lesson is clear. Best data viz built in 20 minutes is going to take the top prize.
Our contestants will be judged in 3 areas: analysis, design, and storytelling. They can earn a total of 100 points. The judges will allocate 90 of those points, and the last 10 points are up to the audience. You can vote for your favorite viz.
And of course, we want to know what you are all thinking during the whole competition, whether you're here or on the virtual event. Please get yourselves on Twitter, on Instagram, share some selfies of you at home or in the crowd, use the hashtag IronViz, and don't forget to connect on Slack to chat with your fellow attendees.
Alrighty, pop quiz. If you think you have the answer to this question, please shout it out. How many total points can each contestant win? Anyone? Yes, good job, gold star.
They're all listening.
Yeah.
That's good. I never listened at school. This is a harder question. How many times have we crowned an Iron Viz champion? Oh, I heard it.
I heard it too.
Neil Richards down at the front, 13. This is the 11th in the US, and we've done 3 in Europe. All right. Now, can anybody guess what this year's data set might be about?
Oh,
They got it.
okay, that was very fast. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this year's data set surrounds the global impact of education on a given region's demographics.
Yeah, and don't forget, the best viz with analysis, design, and storytelling is the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, I think we have some people to meet.
We do, our star pupils.
Let's meet our visitors. The three contestants competing today earned their place on stage by winning the Iron Viz qualifier competition earlier this year.
You ready to meet them?
All righty. First up, coming to us from London, England, CJ Mays.
Hi, I'm CJ, Tableau Visionary and Ambassador. Welcome to Greenwich. Hi, I'm CJ Mays and I'm recording this video from here in Greenwich, London. I actually used to live about an hour east of here, back in a county called Essex, but moved out to live with one of my best friends from school.
Iron Viz baby 2022.
I've been using Tableau for about 2 years now, and I'm eternally grateful to be named Tableau Public Ambassador at Tableau Visionary this year. It seems like a lot of luck has been going my way, and that's always handy when you're out in Vegas. My chosen charity was Plan International. I have the utmost appreciation for the work they do helping some of the most vulnerable people in the world while supporting children's rights and gender equality. This is the workstation where dreams are made. We have CJ-Mays on the right, the feeder on the left-hand pane, a box of wine just in case things get a bit rusty, aqua for the morning, and this Hans Rosling book that inspired my build today. You'll see that there's no keyboard, no mouse, and that's because we always like to stay on the move. Come check out some of the other places I like to work. Some people think that map layers is my favourite chart type. Check out this Venn diagram my mum sent me. Thanks, Mum. Feedback is a really important part of the Viz life cycle, and I had planned on getting some feedback from the Queen herself. But in fact, she wasn't in, so I was left with the next best alternative, my flatmate. Let's hear what he has to say. Arj, how do you reckon I'll get on in the competition?
Well, you probably lose, but at least you're in Vegas. That's all right.
Cheers. Let's hope some of that luck and success rolls into the Iron Viz final, and we might be celebrating like this tonight.
All right. Now, you might catch him making some data viz out on the strip, but for now, here in person, let's welcome CJ to the stage. CJ! Next up, from Melbourne, Australia, let's meet Kimberly Scott.
My name is Kimberly Scott and I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I lived in Melbourne pretty much my whole life and it's such a great part of the world with beautiful beaches, national parks and delicious food. For fun, besides personal visiting of course, I like to spend time with my family. We go out on day trips to the beach, take drives to national parks, go bike riding and generally exploring our wonderful city. I've been using Tableau now for 4.5 years and I just love how easy it is to use and the fact that you can build almost anything. My favourite feature of Tableau is the show hide containers. I don't use this feature often, but it's really useful when needed. For example, in my Iron Viz qualifier viz, where I use show hide containers to add extra context to the milestone Archibald wins. In this competition, I'm proud to represent Australia and the APAC region as well as my wonderful family, really hoping to do them proud. My charity is the UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. This cause hits really close to home for me, and right now with all that's happening around the world, Ukraine, Syria, Afghanistan, not to mention the increase in climate refugees. This year's Iron Viz topic of education is a really interesting one. Education in countries such as Australia is taken for granted, but working on this topic and the data set, it's really forced me to examine and take stock of many things in my life, but more on that later. I've not seen someone who looks like me on the Iron Viz stage, so winning this competition would mean so much. I never thought I would see myself here, and to be honest, it still doesn't feel real. And I know it sounds corny, but I hope that I can inspire my girls and to show them that they can achieve anything they dream of. I entered Iron Viz to challenge myself, and I did that. I entered to learn, and I did that too. So in my mind, just being on the stage in the finals, it means the world already.
All right. Now, here from all the way down under, please welcome to the stage, Kimberly. Woo! And last but not least, from Suffolk in the UK.
What? Where?
Suffolk, S-U-F-F-O-L-K, Suffolk.
Suffolk.
Okay.
Suffolk. It's okay. It's okay.
I'll breathe, okay. Now, from Suffolk in the UK, let's welcome Will Sutton.
Hi, I'm Will Sutton. I'm from the countryside of Suffolk in the United Kingdom. It's a wild and lonely place out here, I've got to say. Number one spot for social distancing. I enjoy keeping active. I do a bit of running. I fix up vintage bikes and take them for a spin, and usually they stay in one piece. I started with Tableau about 8 years ago and was blown away by the interactivity even then. And along that time, there's been so many new features that have come along that really enable you to do so much more with the tool. I suppose I'm representing anybody with a bit of ambitions, bit of dreams, anyone that just wants to be better than they were yesterday. I'm from a small part of the world, and people around here don't think that you could win a competition and go to Vegas. So I'm here for those people that think a bit beyond the borders and think, what can I do with my life that's a bit different than everybody else? For my charity, I picked the UN Refugee Agency. I see a lot of what's going on with Ukraine and people who are trying to escape the country, and just feel like I really need to try and support these people in the best way possible. Winning for me just proves the strength of this community. I mean, I didn't start working in analytics or data visualization, but I was able to pick up things and learn from people in this community, and now I'm here. So what's at stake here for me? I think it's more just the journey. I'm just here to prove that putting the work in, putting the hours in does pay off eventually, and you can accomplish whatever you want in life.
All right. Let's hear it for Will. Give it up.
All right.
Woo! Quite a high five there.
Yeah. Contestants, how are you all feeling? CJ, who's the star pupil among the three of you?
I think you're looking right at him.
Kimberly, how do you feel? Have you been burning the midnight oil?
I have been, yes.
Yeah, very good. And Will, what about you? You're going to be punching above your weight today?
My punches are going to come straight and to the point, just like my Viz.
Love it! Love it!
Fabulous. Now our contestants have not been studying alone. Working alongside each contestant is their study buddy, trusted advisor, and sometimes, let's be honest, stress ball, their sous visors. Each sous visor is a long-standing member of the Tableau community, bringing the product expertise and moral support our visors need.
Yeah, and they are not only providing this routing for their player, they're going to be providing insightful commentary for us all during the build. So let's bring on the Suvisors. First up for Team Will, give it up for Mark Bradbourne from Twinsburg, Ohio. Woo! Riding shotgun with Nina, with Kimley, is Nina Nguyen from Sydney. Woo! And Suvising for CJ is Doris Kovic from Berlin. Woo!
Oh. Okay, here we go. Contestants, you are going to have 20 minutes to get your builds done.
You're about to go head-to-head in the ultimate display of Tableau skills. Are you all ready?
Ready.
Oh.
All right. Okay, class and everyone at home, count down with us. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And they're off. Now, just in case you failed the pop quiz earlier, class, our visitors are being judged solely on what they create in the next 20 minutes using analysis, design, and storytelling, followed by their presentation they'll be giving at the end, which is up to 4 minutes long.
Yeah, now it's time to meet our judges. Iron Viz veterans, you may be able to see the judges table here at the front. How many judges do we normally have? 3. Excellent data analysis. How many judges are at the table? 2.
Wow, right bunch.
N is less than 3. So, alas, just like Archana, one of our judges had to cancel their travel at the very last minute.
Last year's Iron Viz winner, Lisa Trescott, was supposed to be here and in person, but just like Archana, Lisa's currently unable to join us, but she is honoring her Iron Viz judging duties from home.
So, hello, Lisa. But we have good news. We found a substitute at the last minute who we think just might have the qualifications needed to fill the chair at the table. So please welcome back to the stage, Professor Hannah Fry. Professor, it is so great to have you here. How are you feeling about taking on this extra, unexpected burden of responsibility today? Oh, hi.
Yeah. So in all the secret things I say, no one can hear. I see. This is such a treat for me, and I thought I'd come and help out with the British pincer movement.
Yeah. Brits take over, right? Excellent. Fantastic. So.
I'm not British, I'm so sorry. But thank you so much, Hannah. And Lisa, we know you're watching from home. We wish you well. Our next judge needs no introduction. Here for the, how many times has it been?
13. So I've been a judge of every US Iron Viz.
Jock, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Doris is in with some commentary straight away. We'll come back to you in a minute, Jock.
Sorry to interrupt, Jock. CJ's doing something really exciting. So here we see a tile map of Africa. And what's great about this from a storytelling perspective is that each country has equal visibility. And this is a really, really difficult chart to make. CJ used Tableau Prep to densify the data, so it's actually made up of almost 13,000 marks. He's using 5 map layers to create a grape-like design, and that's going to highlight his theme, which is learning through the grapevine, leading to misconceptions.
Wow, thank you.
Interesting.
Wow. Do you have anything to say about that, Jock? Let's just get right back to you.
Gauges are perfectly reasonable encoding of data, yeah.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Jock. So how many times have you been here? Do you remember the first time?
So 2011 was the first Iron Viz. Go ahead,
Jock,
Mark.
I'm going to interrupt you again. But thank you for your contribution.
What's up, Mark?
What's going on?
I feel so bad interrupting Jock, but I got to point this out. So Will is using background images, which was actually the original way Tableau users would get maps before maps were actually in the product. And what he's doing is actually stacking different background images, and it's going to be parameter driven. And these images are actually going to frame his visuals to really kind of just put bookends around the story. It's going to be amazing.
Amazing. Oh, okay. Jock,
It's been 11 Iron Vizes that I've judged.
Right, so this
Amazing.
is number 12. Amazing,
Amazing.
fantastic. Well, great to have you back.
Thank you so much, Chuck. And back on the judges panel this year is Taha Ibrahimi, Director of Tableau Public. Give it up.
Taha, I'm going to remember to ask you the right question this time. Tell me something about Iron Viz and Tableau Public and that perfect marriage.
Well, Iron Viz was born on Tableau Public, and it kind of arose out of this organic desire to see how 3 of the world's best data visualizers would choose to interpret the exact same data set. And what's been amazing is just the spotlight on the enormous talent and creativity of this amazing community.
Amazing, great. And any comments on what you're seeing in the build so far?
You know, we've been watching all 3 of these contestants over the years as they've developed and grown skills, and I would say that each one of them has kind of adopted a certain signature style, so I'm really curious to see how that's going to come across. I know CJ, he's always trying new crazy types of charts. Kimlee, she has this deceptively simple way of just showing inspiring data insights. And Will, he just does this crazy stuff with Tableau that no one has ever done before. And so I'm really, again, curious to see how they're going to lean into their strengths for this competition.
Yeah, I actually want to go to Nina. I see Kimlee has just formatted all her text white. Is she just trying to show off, or is there, so we can't read any of the text, or is there a method behind this?
Gonna keep it a secret until the very last minute there, Andy. No, what Kimlee's doing is she's building all her vizzes in white text. It's because she's gonna drop them all on a dark background. And she shall shed some light on that a little later.
Hannah, sounds like we're going to see some dark backgrounds and some light backgrounds for our visualizations. You had dark backgrounds on your slides yesterday. Is there a reason for that? Do you have a preference?
I think on a screen, it looks quite nice when you just have the clear crispness of the lighter text coming out. But I think, you know, it depends on the format. So sometimes I think printed, lighter backgrounds work better. I think it sort of depends on what you're doing.
Depends.
It depends.
Thank you. And
that's the pro answer.
And let's not forget our 4th judge, our audience here with us today, and those of you tuning in from home. Yeah! In just a moment, we will share with you how you can text your vote and help pick this year's Iron Viz champion. All right, Andy, let's take it back to our 2 visitors. Let's see what's up.
We've already done 7 minutes.
Wait, hold on, look.
So there's something pretty crazy going on in CJ's build there. That's curvy lines. What am I seeing, Doris?
These curvy lines are actually a violin chart. And for those of you that might not be as familiar with them, it's essentially a box and whisker plot showing distribution. But what's great about this, instead of a box and whisker plot, is it allows you to see the previous and current values and actually be able to compare them, which wouldn't be quite as simple to do with a box and whisker plot. And this is, again, very advanced, but it's real harmony of both form and function.
Form and function.
What do we think, judges? Do we have opinions on violin graphs?
Form and function. Let's talk about it.
So I buy the before and after. It seems to work really well in a violin chart. So yeah.
I'm a big fan of them, actually. I really like them. I think that they contain more information than a box and whisker because you can see the actual shape of the distribution. I think the only downside to them is that sometimes they can make it look as though there's data where there isn't, you know, because you're smoothing out the shape of the distribution. But I mean, I'm a big fan of them. I think they're very beautiful.
All right, fantastic. What about Taha? So CJ's clearly going down gauges and violins. He's sort of diverting from just show me. What do you think?
You know, I'm a big fan of simplicity and not having lots of bells and whistles, but sometimes, you know, these kinds of charts are necessary to tell certain stories. And I know a violin chart is great for showing density. So again, I'm really curious to see the narrative and how this plays into it and whether these are truly necessary.
Yeah, I think we've seen a contrast already with Kimlee's Viz, you know, simple dots, right? Yeah, all right. Okay, where are we? Mark, where's Will up to?
So Will's just continuing to build out his story. Right now, we're working on where we start to see that every data point is a human life, and we're really going to put focus on that. But keep your eye on Will's screen, because you're going to start to see some amazing things come together really quick.
All right, if I'm looking this way, make big actions so we get to come to that at the right time.
Andy, I wish that I had known being here in person is really amazing.
It is.
So
One person thinks
one
being here in
person, one person.
amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
What is it like being back on the stage after 2 years?
Well, it was nice to get out and put some nice clothes on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been wearing pajamas for the last 2 years, so that has been absolutely amazing.
Next year we'll make it pajama themed. Then we can wear pajamas on stage.
Who wants to do a pajama party, Iron Viz, next year?
That would be so fun. Oh yeah.
All right, okay.
And how's Las Vegas?
How's Las Vegas? Do you mean lost wages? In fact, do you know how to leave Vegas with $1 million?
How?
You come here with $2 million.
This guy.
You've missed those, right? There's plenty more to come. Got loads of fun.
Hannah, this is your first Iron Viz, my first Iron Viz hosting. What's been your impression so far, just of the atmosphere?
Okay, I mean, I definitely am in America right now. I think that's that in a very good way, to be clear, in the best possible way. But I am so impressed with the concentration of the contestants, how they are managing to block all of this out and continue working. I mean, I'm in awe. I'm in awe.
Yeah. What about you, Jock? What's your take for being back here in Iron Viz, and how do you think the contestants are doing?
So the Iron Viz has had a long history. The first 4 years of Iron Viz was just a breakout session, and then after that we got on the keynote stage, and which is super exciting. And obviously there have been new features developed over the year, like animation. It has been really impactful in Iron Viz, and also. Each year, the contestants do things. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to Mark. Mark, do you want to say something?
Mark loves interrupting.
I'm getting a sign.
He really likes to interrupt you.
My timing is so horrible every time it's Jock. But I wanted to point out what Will was doing right now. So he's using one of the newer features of Tableau, which is map layers. But he's using it in a very unconventional way. So he's got his countries, but now he's added additional layers using make point calculations. And he's going to be showing lines as well as big, angry numbers.
What, big angry numbers? Bands, right?
Big assertive numbers, right? Yes, we love those. So hang on, let me clarify. This is one sheet.
One sheet.
I saw a line chart, though.
Yeah, there was a line chart. They'll be back.
That's a different sheet.
Just one sheet. It's like chartception.
Chartception.
It's like charts within charts.
Good T-shirt.
Yeah, movie.
Yeah. Chartception T-shirt, please. Yeah. Right, so that's absolutely amazing. Okay, Nina, where are we up to? With Kimley. Oh, we don't know. There you go.
Now I'm audible. Okay, so I do want to point out that Kimley is obviously, you can see that she's dropping her visualizations onto her dashboard. And she's using a series of nested show and hide containers, which is one of her favorite features of Tableau, she's mentioned in her video. And she's using this so that she can show us her story one step at a time in a logical sequence. And it's a very clever use of that. And she's also adding alt text to her images, and all of the text that you're seeing, Kimley's adding manually here so that she can, it is for the purpose of aiding accessibility, which is very important to Kimley.
Thank you. So Taha, let me come to you, Taha. We've got layout containers, amazing things that people can build in Tableau. How can people go and see some more of this?
That's super easy, Andy. Just go to Tableau Public. Each one of these contestants has their own portfolio of work, and there are 2 million authors on there where you can go and see work and be inspired. You can reverse engineer, learn how to make these. So head on over.
Hannah,
what if I want to see one every day?
Well, we have just the thing for you, too. You can subscribe to something called Viz of the Day. The Tableau Public community team curates an amazing, inspiring Viz made by our community every weekday, and you can get that sent to your email inbox. And you can find out more about that at the Viz Gallery in the Data Village. So go there, too.
Right. Hannah, do you have a Tableau Public account?
Oh, sorry, my mic's not working.
Putting her on the spot.
Do we think Hannah should register for Tableau Public today?
Yes, 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 yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, you persuaded me. You persuaded me.
I'll tweet out your first Viz, don't worry. It'll go viral. Okay, 6 minutes to go.
6 minutes. Oh, we are getting down to the wire.
Should we check in with the supervisors?
I think we should check in with
do
them.
it.
I actually wanted to ask Doris, CJ's Viz is kind of built out like a newspaper. Is that to go in line with the theme?
Definitely. So as you correctly noticed, it's a newspaper layout, which is kind of a play on the whole misconceptions and learning through newspapers and learning things through the grapevine. So it's pretty much just a beautiful, design, and just really highlighting the simplicity of those 3 charts and just making you focus just on the front page of the newspaper.
That's amazing. And can you what's he doing right now? Is that a navigation button? Can you explain that feature?
Sorry,
the navigation button? The navigation button.
Oh, sorry, Andy.
It's really hard to hear.
You're so far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's navigation. So he just focused on, the front and the back page and switching between the two using navigation button.
Cool. And Africa, that's a map of Africa, but it kind of looks like a bunch of grapes.
Yep, it's a grape-like design, so it looks very grape-like.
Perfect for Vegas.
Let's talk a little bit about the pros and cons of best practice. I mean, Hannah, where do you sit on wacky charts or best practice boring?
Oh, wait.
Oh, hang on.
There's something.
Will,
is that
let's
a
go to
GIF?
Will. What's going on there? Mark?
Is that a GIF?
What just happened with those
What's
icons?
happening?
It's not an animated GIF. What are you talking about? It's 100% Tableau, baby.
Oh. Okay, explain it. Explain it to me.
So,
what?
Will is going to employ animations in a very tasteful way.
Hang on a minute, hang on. Is he also using a regular expression in Iron Viz? Okay. Yes! That is
what?
I love you, nerds. Right, sorry, back to what have you.
That's okay. I mean, what can I possibly say about Will? He's got all the skills. But Will's going to use that animation that you saw briefly, kind of like Viz Bay. He's going to sprinkle that animation on and flavor that Viz. It's going to be beautiful.
Nina, do you think Will has all the skills, or is it Kimberly?
Well, still to be seen. I'm not yet convinced. Kimberly's going to shed some light on what she's doing just in a minute.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I was about to hear from Hannah.
I'm so sorry.
I forgive you. It's okay. So in terms of where I stand on more, I guess, technically demanding, complicated plots versus simplicity, I think for me, story is absolutely key. And working out what the story is that you want to tell, and then creating the data that, that presents that story in the clearest possible way. So the visualizations that I like the most are the ones where the story kind of hits you very squarely right when you look at it immediately. But I also like the ones where actually there's sort of depth to it. So a visualization where the more you look at it, the more there is to see. So I think that it's I mean, it depends, Andy. I think essentially it depends.
Okay, we love that.
And Andy, I want to comment a little bit about animation. So Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, and animation is very effective for storytelling. But you have to do it well. And literally, we all have powerful visual systems, so we can judge. Everybody in this room can judge whether the animation was done effectively. So.
In what ways can it go wrong?
It will pull your attention, so it can totally damage a story by pulling your attention at the wrong moment.
Yeah, all right.
You know, animation, I think, is best for a time sequence. So that's what I'll be looking for. Is it going to be a time sequence? And as I'm looking at the other contestants, actually, it's super interesting because each one has chosen a different way to tell their story. There's animation here. It looks like Kimley's is a vertical type of viz, and it seems that CJ's is this horizontal newsprint type.
Yeah.
So this will be super cool.
I'm excited.
On that animation point, I think I agree with you. I think that everything that you include has to earn its place. I think everything has to serve a real purpose to build up to that final story. And I think that sometimes animation, while it can really detail or give you the understanding of time series data in particular, I think sometimes if it's used unwisely, where it's not really serving a purpose, actually it can be distracting.
Yeah, I noticed CJ's book was inspired by CJ had the book Factfulness by Hans Rosling, and if anybody hasn't gone and seen Hans Rosling's TED Talks, it's a masterclass in animation. So check that
we are getting down to the wire, just about a minute left. So I just want to give a reminder to the class that $10,000 is on the line, with $5,000 more going to the charity of the winner's choice. And to all the viewers at home, be sure to check out our Iron Viz trivia in the Slack channel where you can engage with us. Huge shout out to Ginny Bench for that. And now let's just go back to the Sous Visitors.
Well, yeah, I think we'll do Sous Visitors. It looks like CJ, Doris, is he just chilling out now? Is he pretty much finished?
CJ is basically done. He's just making sure that everything's clean and polished for the final edition. So he's cool as a cucumber.
Cool as a cucumber.
Will's looking done too, actually.
Nina, Kimley's, yeah, Will's looking, is Will done? Mark?
Will's ready to close the book on this viz, baby.
All right, how about Kimley?
Kimley's ready to step into the spotlight any minute now.
I think we're going to be, are you ready for the end of the build and the judging process? I am. Woo!
Alrighty.
All right,
we have
count
10
down with
seconds
us.
left, so we are going to go ahead and count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give it up for the contestants and their hard work. Amazing. Make sure you go over to Twitter and Instagram. Let us know what you've been thinking using the hashtag IronViz. Take a selfie of the judges. Look at that. They are doing the professional social media work. And connect on Slack too. Yeah, I wish we had some Bam Bams, you know.
Yeah, they did. It was a Bam Bam.
I know, where are ours? So we are going to hear from each of the contestants as they present their viz. Pay attention, everyone, because the voting is going to open after they're done. They'll have up to 4 minutes, and we are going to go ahead and start with CJ. CJ, take it away.
Hosts, judges, data fam. Misconceptions from the grapevine. Inspired by the book Factfulness by Hans Rosling, I create a fruitful play at how historical and generational bias change our perception of the world. Within my viz, I focus at the world, continent, and country level with a case study of South Africa. I narrow the dataset to 2 global indicators of life expectancy and adult literacy rate from the year I was born in 1997 through to the modern day. Whilst we can't assume causation, we see the positive relationship between these two. Using colour, I highlight South Africa's above global average literacy rate and booming life expectancy. After the end of the apartheid, South Africa saw an increase in government spending on education, as well as greater access to education for black South Africans specifically. The violin chart takes a global view, split by quadrant of the world. The line highlights the earliest record, whilst the polygon is the current life expectancy. Notice how Africa sees a monumental 18% increase in life expectancy. Now, all countries in Africa have a minimum life expectancy of 50, with a quadrant average of 67, just 3 years shy of the other regions who are now starting to bunch at the top. That one didn't go well. Okay, cool.
I get it, great. I'm laughing.
Go with the puns.
Great. My final section of the newspaper displays Africa's literacy rates. 13 of the countries now have a literacy rate higher than the global average, predominantly in the south of Africa. For my case study, through colour again, I highlight South Africa's increase in literacy rate, now at 94%. Having had the opportunity to dive into the data, focusing on the dates of our lifetime, I realize how history sometimes warps our perceptions. As a room full of analysts and storytellers, I want to impart upon you the importance of finding the truth and not being misled. I'm glad to have found how Africa has developed. Thank you.
Thank you, CJ.
One down there.
Well done, CJ. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, we're going to get the judges 1 question each. So, Taha, what have you got to ask CJ?
I've been dying to ask this question. CJ, how the hell did you make that map?
How'd you make those grades?
A lot of data prep. So what you'll see is there's 4 different layers to this chart. The first is a polygon, and so this is actually about 100 different points using different mathematics functions and a path to draw it as a polygon. And then the gauge chart, I really nerded out on. If you click into the points, you'll see that I've taken the raw data set and densified the data to have 100 points for each percentage mark. I've then used trigonometry and duplicated those 100 marks and scaled them outwards and then joined them with a line.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Taha.
Alrighty. We are going to move on for the sake of time. Kimlee, let's hear your presentation.
Thank you, Danica. Hello, everyone. My viz is a personal story. It's a story of what could have been if circumstances were different. I am Cambodian Australian, but I'm also a child of refugees born in a refugee camp. I've always wondered what my life would have been like if we had returned to Cambodia after the war, had we not come to Australia. Let's explore this using data. We can measure a country's quality of education by its literacy rate. That is the percentage of the population over the age of 15 who can read, write, and understand a simple statement about their everyday life. We can see here, up here in blue, Australia's literacy rate sits at 99%. That's pretty high, huh? Compare that to Cambodia, down here in orange, at 73.9%. However, there is a lot behind Cambodia's literacy rate. It's skewed by its majority younger population. 95% of the population are under the age of 65. Many of the older generation had their education cut short because of the war, and many more refugees didn't return home. They decided to settle in another country in search of a better life, such as my family. So what impacts literacy rate? When we look at total government expenditure on education, we can see that Australia spends 5.5% of its GDP on education. That may not seem like much, but consider that the global average is 4.9%, and consider again that Cambodia only spends 2.6% investing in education. But what else is there? In Cambodia, while the expected number of years of schooling is just under 12 years, in reality, the children of Cambodia are dropping out just before 5 years. So the children of Cambodia are not getting a high school education. 76% of its population live rurally, which is impacted by poverty and lacks basic infrastructure. Gender roles also plays a role in the shorter length of schooling. Australia, on the other hand, expects adults to have around 20 years of schooling. Higher education is common. I myself studied for a further 4 years after I finished high school. Would I have left school in grade 5 if I had lived in Australia? We can see how education impacts a country. Australia's population has a life expectancy of 82.5 years, while in Cambodia the life expectancy is 68.75 years. My dad just turned 67 this year. We see fertility rates lower for Australia compared to Cambodia. Women in Australia are having children later, they're having fewer children, or not having children at all. The average age of first-time mothers in Australia is 29 years old. The average age of first-time mothers in Cambodia is 21.9 years. I had my first child when I was 30. And lastly, we see a huge gap in economic output in terms of GDP per capita between the two countries. These outcomes may not be the direct result of literacy rate alone, but we can see that quality education impacts both the individual and their country. Cambodia's situation has improved significantly over the last decade, but if my family had returned there after the war, I would not have had the same opportunities that I've had. Amongst other things, education plays a huge part in who I am today, and without it, I wouldn't be here today telling you my story. Education is a human right, yet millions of children around the world lack access to quality education. I want to leave you today with a quote from the world's youngest Nobel Prize winner and female education activist, Malala Yousafzai. One child, one teacher, one book and one pen can change the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimlee. All right. We are going to...
Well done, Kimlee.
Thank you, Kimlee.
Thank you,
We are
Kimlee.
going to
Thank
take
you
a
very much.
question
Okay.
from Jock.
I totally love the flashlight image at the top. Thank you for scrolling back up, because data can help us see the world. Tell us about the journey that you came to that part of your design.
Yeah, so the flashlight is basically just that. It's helping to draw the focus on the two countries that are highlighted in my viz. You know, in the data set we had heaps of countries in there, but I liked the imagery of the flashlight to shine a light. So I drew this little girl up in the corner here. This is me, shining a light and showing everyone that these are the two countries that are really close to my heart and influence who I am.
Thank you, Kimberly. You're up.
Okay, it is time for our final presentation. Will, are you ready?
Thanks, Andy.
Okay, go.
Thanks, Andy. Hi, data fam. When I was reviewing the data sets, I learned something, and that was that literacy doesn't just benefit the student, it benefits everyone around them. In this demo, I'm going to walk you through 20 years of closing the youth literacy gap. We'll look at where we were, where we are today, and what we can do in the future. So if we go back to 2002, the world was a different place. We were just having the internet in homes, we were watching Lord of the Rings in the cinema, and in the world of education, we had the Maastricht Global Education Declaration that said for a globalized world, we need a globalized education system, and that education should be seen as a human right and available to everyone. So I've got a question for you. I've got 100 young people on screen here from all around the world. How many of them do you think can read and write? Well, 87 can, which means 13 are illiterate, which means they can't read or write. They're going to have reduced opportunities in work and education. I mean, how do you read a textbook, or how do you write a CV for a job application? You can't. And when we look at gender, we see more issues, where women are much more likely to be illiterate than men. And this was the world in 2002. But let's fast forward 10 years, and surely things got better. So in 2002, we see, yes, literacy rates did improve, the gender gap came down, but after 10 years, what was the benefit of doing this? Well, what I wanted to share behind the data was people and their stories. So here I've gathered 3 different stories from around the world. The charts show where countries that were in 2002 below the average literacy levels. The color lines indicate a country that improved literacy rates. The gray line is a group of countries that didn't improve. And the benefits are really clear to see. So we saw in India that educating students like Tanvi brought more women into India's workforce, boosting their economic outputs. We saw in Zambia that educating students like Levi about the risks of HIV and AIDS meant they were less likely to be affected, extending their life expectancy. And we saw in Nepal that school became actually a protective force from students like Rani falling into child marriages, which then meant they would have more opportunities in their future rather than just being a parent. And in that country, we saw the fertility rate decline. In each of these cases, literacy didn't just benefit the student, it benefited everyone around them. In India, everybody got wealthier. In Zambia, everyone was living longer. And in Nepal, we were redefining women's role in society. So back to 2002, let's bring this picture up to date. So today, with a bit of forecasting, we can see sort of a similar increase, literacy going up, gender gap coming down. But what I care about is these 7 people here. Is it going to be another 20 or so years before we can reach them? Well, when we dive into the data a bit further, we see that literacy is not like evenly distributed around the world. It's very concentrated in parts of Africa and Asia. In this map, I've highlighted countries with below average literacy levels, with the worst affected countries in dark orange, where 2 out of 3 youths are illiterate. And using the interaction in Tableau, we can dive in further with the data. So when I click on Chad, I can see that 73% of youths are illiterate. But now we can actually understand the benefits if they did become at the global average literacy rate. So they could be around 5 times wealthier, live 14 years longer, and have 2 children per woman instead of 5. So I would encourage you to support literacy programs in these areas. By doing so, you're not just benefiting the students, you're benefiting the people around them, and you're claiming a fairer education system for a globalized world. Thank you.
Okay, well done, Will. Congratulations, Will. Just a quick reminder, get your phones ready to be phone voting, because it's going to be a relatively brief window, so get your phones out, at the ready to do the phone voting. But Hannah, do you have a question for Will?
I think when you're presented with a data set, there's always a really tough choice between whether you present the bird's eye view or, as I like to call it, the worm's eye view. Talk to me about how you made the choice to include the countries that you chose and that sort of balance.
Well, I really started off on that global picture of where we were in 20 years ago and saw there was an incentive to try and improve literacy rates. I then saw that when we actually look at the data on the whole perspective, that's not really happening. I then tried to draw it back to actually, these aren't just numbers, these are people, these are lives that are being improved. So I kind of did a bit of both. So I started with the top down and then sort of actually drill it back to the human, what the impact is for them. So kind of a bit of both, I think.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now we've heard from our contestants and the judges along with Hannah, but it is not just about the audience here in Vegas. Everyone can take part. Data fam watching from home, you'll also be able to vote for your favorite Viz. Voting will be open in just a minute. But first, here's Archana coming to us again from her home in London to share with us all of the important terms and conditions.
Hello again, everyone, and what an exciting showdown that was. Congratulations to CJ, Kimley, and Will on getting through their builds. But this time, I'm here for a very serious job, which calls for a very serious outfit. It's the terms and conditions, so listen up. Standard text messaging rates apply according to your cellular provider plan. Poll Everywhere does not charge for text message responses. Audience members outside of the US and Canada will not incur long-distance texting charges, though other charges may apply. For the US and Canada, the text voting number is 37607. For the rest of the world, the text voting number is +1 747 444 3548. Got it? Back to you, Danica and Andy.
Thank you, Archana. Hello to Archana and Lisa who are watching at home. Okay, everybody in the audience, you know the numbers. Vote by text is going to be open in 1 second. Just one thing to say, there's no hashtag. There are hashtags on those podiums. Ignore the hashtags. Right, voting is open now. Get voting.
If you think CJ should win, text.
IV22 CJ.
If you think Kimley should win, text.
IV22.
Kimley.
Kimley.
And if you think Will should win, text.
IV22.
Will.
That's right. Okay, we're going to visit with our Sue Vizzers while you're voting. For one last time, they're going to make a pitch for their contestant. Doris, why should it be CJ?
Iron Viz is voted on 3 aspects: storytelling, design, and analytics. And even in this audience, only few would be able to recreate these technically masterful Vizes with such a beautiful design and compelling analytical story. So CJ has aced it on all 3 aspects. And that's why CJ is my champion.
Excellent. All right, Nina. What are we saying for Kimley?
Kimley has come to the Iron Viz stage today not only to show you what she can do with Tableau and with data, but more importantly, she's come here to tell you her story with data. And I think it's undeniable that she's done so succinctly, eloquently, and beautifully. And listen, everyone, after all you've seen today, you can certainly be very impressed with a bunch of grapes or some flying people. But you are going to walk away remembering what Kimley has shared with you and how she's inspired you to find your own story. And that is the power of data, and that is why Kimley's going to win Iron Viz 2022. Go, Kimley!
Ooh, it's getting hot in here.
Yeah, the temperature just got a little higher. Okay, voting is going to close in a minute. So, Mark, are you going to take that?
No. So, Will took a very complex data set and focused on the human element, the fact that every data point is a human life, and that when we affect change on the individual, it also affects change around them. Now, Will employed not only original features to Tableau and used them in new and effective ways, but also used new features like animation and map layers to really tell an effective story in a beautiful design, and his storytelling was superb. So I think we should probably crumple up the newspaper, turn off the flashlight, and crown Will champion
Whoa!
Yeah!
Is this a WWE stage? What is happening here? What is happening? Thank you so much, Mark. All right, everyone. Just one more minute before voting by text ends. To vote for CJ, text.
IV22 CJ.
If you're voting for Will, text.
IV22 Will.
And if you're voting for Kimley, text.
IV22 Kimley.
The winner will be crowned 2022 Iron Viz champion and receive $10,000 in prize money with another $5,000 going to the charity of their choice.
So I have to say, Danica, this has been an impressive set of finalists this year. Do you think it's going to be close?
Yeah, which means every vote counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've done it once, and you've already done it by now. Has everybody voted? Yeah, because we're closing the votes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, that's it. It's time to tally up the votes to see what we have learned about today's Vizes.
All right, so while we're waiting for the tally to be done, you know what? It's fitting that this year's data set was about education. You may not know, but Iron Viz has a secondary competition, Student Iron Viz, and that is made up entirely of students enrolled at academic institutions across the world.
To tell us more about it, please welcome to the stage the winners of the 2022 Iron Viz Student Edition from the University of Maryland, Michael Dunphy. From the Georgia Institute of Technology, Nivedita Mathon Kumar. And from the University of Wisconsin, say hello to Alex Johnson. All right, I have a brief minute with these amazing students, so I'm just going to go ahead and go down the line and ask a question. Michael, what inspired you to learn Tableau?
Thank you. I was inspired by the community, you all, right? Seeing the Vizes on Tableau Public, seeing the amazing creators spotlighted through things like Viz of the Day, seeing the level of dedication and enthusiasm for competitions within the community like Iron Viz. I guess what I'm trying to say is the community, the DataFam community, has so much passion for data, right? Data analytics, data visualization, data storytelling. And I guess that enthusiasm just wore off on me. So here I am, excited and ready to learn even more about Tableau. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Nivedita, what was it like entering the Student Iron Viz competition?
I was very excited. I enjoy participating in competitions, given their structured projects, problem statements, and motivating deadlines. And I found the Student Iron Viz a great way to practice my data viz skills, especially with all the guidance from the previous winners and from the other community members.
Thank you. Wow. All right, Alex, you're a Tableau student ambassador. Can you tell us about that program?
Yeah, as a student ambassador, my main responsibility is to inspire and empower other students to build their data skills in Tableau. To do this, we facilitate opportunities for growth through training and engagement events such as workshops and local data visualization competitions such as Iron Viz.
Amazing, thank you. You're all on a great path, and I hope to see you on this stage in the future. Give it up again for the winners of the 2022 Iron Viz Student Edition. Thank you.
Nice job. Great job. All right, well, the energy has been absolutely incredible. It's so nice to be back on stage and live with you all.
Truly, truly. An outstanding year and a remarkable example of Tableau being used by some of its finest practitioners. I've been amazed this entire time.
Yeah. So, I believe the scores have been tallied from the judges. They've made their decision. And I think the community votes have been tallied as well.
Yeah, the community votes have also been tallied.
It's time. Do we want to find out who the winner is?
I do. Yeah, I do.
May I have a golden envelope, please? Hurrah! A golden envelope.
Ooh.
Thank you, Alyssa. All right, contestants. Could you come
on down.
Before we announce the winner, amazing job, right? Thank you to our judges. Thank you to Lisa at home, and to Hannah, thank you for stepping in at the last minute. Thank you to my co-host, Archana Ganeshalingam, who is watching from home. Hello. Thank you to Lisa. Thank you to the Suvizers. Thank you to the contestants for a dazzling display. And thank you to everybody here for bringing the energy and the amazing screens. Thank you.
Also, a big shout out to our sponsors, and in particular today's diamond sponsor, our partners at Interworks, for help making this event possible.
All right.
Wait,
oh, there's one more thing.
News. We have news.
One more thing. Who's had a good time at Tableau conference this year? That's good.
Me.
Would you like to do it again next year? That is good. I'm delighted to tell you all that Tableau Conference will be back in spring 2023. We'll announce, yes. More details will be announced soon, but I cannot wait to see you all again next year. All right, that's enough tension building. Let's get this done. All right, okay. In third place, receiving $2,000 in prize money and a $1,000 donation to charity is CJ.
Amazing. That leaves Kimley and Will. One of you will be this year's 2022 Iron Viz champion. Now in second place, ready to take home $5,000 in prize money with another $2,000 going to charity is Kimley.
That means you, Will, are the 2022 Iron Viz champion.
Here I come. I'm coming. Here I come. All right, Will, you get to take home the top prize of $10,000 and Tableau sending $5,000 to the UNHCR. How does it feel?
Oh, it's incredible. Thank you, Data Fam.
All right, thank you. Yeah, you heard it.
All right.
Amazing.
Congratulations, everybody. That is it for Iron Viz 2022. So long, everybody. Danica, let's bring it home.
Until